Alright, this is going to be a quick and simple video of what I can do to make your Monster Hunter experience a little bit better, give you a little bit of tips, make the gameplay a little bit more better for you as you're playing the game and the settings. Overall, what I wish I knew when I started getting into this game, because I'm a player who has never played Monster Hunter before World. I've gotten a little bit of experience of World, but Rise is where I actually started playing like a lot. And I thought I'll just share a lot of my experiences. I'll have everything sectioned off, so timestamps will be in the description so you can click whatever you want to see. Alright, busting through the gate, we have the hub. A lot of this stuff is self-explanatory. The game is going to really tell you everything you need to know about the hub, so I don't really need to talk to you about that. But first, we're going to be running to the settings options. The major things you're going to want to change is in the camera settings. Once you're in here, you just go on the bottom, camera distance, put that up to 100. It's going to be all the way to the, I don't know why it's on whatever the hell it starts on. You literally can't see anything but your character and your big ass sword. I don't know if a lot of this stuff is default because I changed so much of this stuff. So focus camera setting, no restriction, target camera vertical settings, match height, camera style, focus camera. So if some of this is already the same, I apologize, but I changed this stuff so long ago so I can't remember. So pause the video if like you want to copy some of this stuff. Obviously stuff like camera speed, vertical speed has to do with like your sensitivity. I like playing on like the high sensitivity, so that's my opinion. So 100% these bottom things from camera style all the way to camera distance you would want to copy. Okay, so in the control settings you're going to want to change the button hold setting, and that's because it's going to be set to medium, but you want to have it set to short because when you're just going around and you're holding RB to run around, you hold B to like summon your Palamute. He's not, I don't know why, he's weird, but yeah, and then you hold B and then you have to summon your Palamute. So imagine you had this on medium, it will save you so much time, especially in like tough situations where you had to run away and you like using the Palamute. Now in game settings, the only thing you really need to change is the player silhouette. It'll be set to off, but I would highly suggest changing it to any type you want. All of the types does, if you read in the bottom left, it says the color, and I feel like you would want to change it to white because it's the most like blinking out color you will see out of all these colors. Because for example, if you pick red, there's so much, like if you're fighting a fire dragon, there's so much red going on you would barely see the player silhouette kind of. So white just like tones down like all the other colors and you clearly see yourself if you're inside the monster. This was personal preference. If you don't like a lot of clutter in your screen, like all this like damage effects and stuff like that, or like auras on your character, you could put this down to like 25%, even for the other players you play with, because with 4 people it gets a little bit chaotic, but I have it to 50%. I don't know if that's default. It probably is because I'm pretty sure 100% will be a little bit crazy. All right, lastly is going to be the display setting and the performance. Now there's going to be different modes going to be default, and you're going to prioritize graphics, and there's going to be prioritized frame rate. So basically prioritized graphics will make you run 4K but 60 frames. Prioritized frame rate is 1080p but you run at 120 hertz, 120 frames. So I have it set to custom, which if you go to advanced graphic settings, so you see prioritized graphics is, you know, it's cool, but you don't have those frames, so it looks a little bit not smooth. Now if you go to prioritized frame rate, what the fuck is this? You are like playing on it looks ugly. So advanced graphic settings, and I will suggest these settings right here, because you could customize it all the way you want. It's just processing load high, but like my Xbox doesn't make a single sound. It's not hot, and I assume it's running 120 frames. It looks smooth, and the way everything looks, it looks fine. I'll show you in a second after I show you everything, because everything in the bottom is off. All this stuff is off on the bottom besides this, which makes the leaves move left and right. But besides the leaves moving left and right, all this stuff is set to max. 100% the Xbox can handle this. If the Xbox can handle this, I'm sure the PlayStation 5 can handle this also, with the graphics looking like this and running at 120 frames. All right, now let's get into the gameplay. So like I said, the game's going to basically explain all these areas for you. If you run this way, you go to the buddy hub. This is literally just pets. All this stuff has to do with pets and gathering materials for you with the pets, especially these submarines. Now, so just with the submarines, the first 2 submarines, you would want to have honey and herb, so you have a limited amount of mega potions and you won't have to be greedy, and you won't have to go in the box and worry about the little bits and collect it in the open world. The only thing that affects this, the Argus, whatever it's called, is the buddy level, and you can also change the buddy bargaining. So if you click in on them, they all each have their own buddy bargaining, and each of these, it tells you what level you need to be required to unlock the different bargains. It just gives you better stuff. That's basically what it does. I never used it. Out of all this time I've been playing this game, I never used it, but if you want to use it to get items items faster, you could go ahead and use it. So yeah, the only thing that affects them getting more stuff is the level of the buddy. Doesn't matter of the type, it doesn't matter if it's a dog or anything, it just matters of the level. Okay, another tip with the buddy is when you go to scout buddy, when you talk to this guy right here, he has an option to scout a buddy, and you can pick a palamute or a palicos, and you could customize them to how you want them to be. So I have a general like rotation of this to come out looking like this, because I don't want them to come out looking like ugly or anything. He even picked the voice of how they sound, and they will all come out like that. The only thing you could pick is the any type for support type. So if I pick healer, they will all come out as healer, assist, and you know, go on. So obviously the support type I have is gathering right now. As you can see, when we go to higher and palicos, we have similar ones with different colors, but they have the same style and everything, and they're all gatherers. Now the reason this matters is because if you're like a min-maxer or something, you see these skills when you press RT and LT, you see these skills right there. If you're a min-maxer, this would really matter to you. Overall, it wouldn't really matter if you don't care that much. It's not going to make like a major game-changing, end-of-the-world difference. You know, it just makes a slight change. I would highly recommend just going on Google if you're like a min-maxer. Just put Monster Hunter Rise best build for palicos or palamutes or whatever. And there's this website called Game 8. Now, whenever you use this website, Game 8, you can't miss it. Like if you put Monster Hunter Rise, for example, best hammer build or whatever. For this example, we're going to use palico. Click on the website. Obviously, Sunbreak is not out for Xbox yet or PlayStation. We're using kind of a version of Title Update 3. So yeah, no matter what you do, just go to Title Update 3 and all your min-maxing desires will be there. So if I go to my Palico, for example, these are basically the min-max abilities for the Palico. Shock Person, Power Drum, Go Fight Win. That's the ones you're looking for. And then for their skill memory, their equipped skills, all you care about is the health up large and the status attack up. But that's because of the weapons that they use. For the Palamute, is way more simpler because they don't have like a support type or like a role or anything. So it's just a Gear Slot 1 guarding Peril Stole and Gear Slot 2 heal Blade Scroll. Those are the best things. And for skill memory, you would want elemental attack up large, and critical up small. There you go. You've min-max what you need. But I have the fighter, so it varies on different players. Like if you're more of an experienced player, you would use the assist one. If you're a new player, you use the heal one. This one will help you a lot. Village Quest, which is single player, and the Gathering Hub, which is multiplayer. Multiplayer, you will only be able to take one buddy. So you have to choose between the wolf, or you have to choose between one of your buddies. And the way you do that, you go to the item box. Oh no, I'm wrong. You go to the buddy board. It says select buddy, and the buddy that is number 1 will be the buddy that comes out with you whenever you're playing multiplayer. So majority of the people would pick the Palamute, which is the wolf, for mobility to run everywhere faster, and you would use the Palico for just more efficiency of what you're doing. All right, so now let's talk about your hunter rank, right? So there's low rank and then there's high rank, and this also affects the type of gear you make. Now, lucky for you, since you're a console player, you could go to the item box, you can manage your equipment, change your equipment, and you have this beautiful thing called the Guild Cross. This armor is so good. You will single-handedly kill everything. It's all you need to single-handedly kill everything in low rank to get yourself into high rank. So do not waste your materials or anything unless it is for your unless it's for upgrading your weapon. That's the only thing you should use it for. This armor will help you get into high rank. Now, the way you get it is basically here, which is like the main area. You talk to this cat, and he has every single DLC that you would care for. You go down to add-ons, and you claim all of these add-ons, and you will get that guild armor. Okay, now back on the Village Quest and Gathering Hub quest. This lady right here, Hinoa, has all the single-player quests. All this stuff is single-player. Down to the Rampage quest, your optimal side quest transfers over from Gathering Hub to single-player. Well, Village Quest anyways. The Gathering Hub stuff will be down here in this little cave area, this little blue room. Talk to Minato, and this is where you will be playing with your friends. You will still unlock high rank if you play Gathering Hub or the Village Quest. Now, if you want to learn the game, I highly suggest Village Quest. So here's the correlation, right? So Gathering Hub star 1, 2, and 3. Those 3 first low rank Gathering Hub quests are related to Village Quest 4, 5, and 6. So Gathering Hub 1-star quest would be Village 4-star quest. Gathering Hub 2-star quest would be Village 5-star quest. And the same thing with that, right? Now, Village will have a special quests called the special license quests, and you need to do those quests whenever you see them so you can unlock high rank, because doing those quests will unlock the next rank of quests, which is the 2-star, 3-star. So if I do the special license quest for a 5-star village key quest, I will unlock the 2-star hub quest. And now when you play the gathering hub, you would click one of these quests and you wouldn't have to do all of this to unlock the next tier of quests. You would be here and then you will do the quest and then you unlock high rank. Now let me talk about these talisman real quick. So this guy's gonna have a melding pot and he has all these talisman you can make. Literally these first 3, just ignore them. They're not important. The moon bow, haze, and reflecting pool. Do not make a talisman with these. That's because they don't really give you the best of the best unless you're really like dying for one of these talisman here, because the game automatically gives you a talisman for when you start the game from the DLC thing add-ons. Once you unlock these, which you unlock later on in the game, which I think you have to defeat that big yellow banana looking dragon thing, you always do Wisp of Memories. Now whenever you put something in here, it's going to equal that amount. I want to put a Pookie Pookie, has a value of 20, put it there. Now they can override each other. See, it says 195 out of 150. I highly suggest saving those points. Like, just make it equal what it's supposed to equal. Only because you don't want to be selling all your material for just that one talisman. And then after you click confirm, you'll have a talisman on the right side. And then you see what talisman you want. Once you finish a mission, one pot will open one at a time. So I have 7 pots on the right side. So that means it will take 7 missions for either me failing it or completing it, and the pot will open. You can also do the rebirth talismans. And the rebirth talismans is when you take 20 talismans that you have and you don't want, and you basically take them out of your inventory, you delete them, and it makes one of those green jars on the bottom right. And it still takes the same. If you have 1 pot of a rebirth melding pot, it will take 1 fail or 1 complete of a quest to unlock that 1 pot. All this stuff is endgame, and it's randomized whatever you get from here, so you can always get what you want. So yeah, don't even worry about talisman until like you get close to like hunter rank whenever you unlock the Wisp of Mystery one, because it's not guaranteed of what you get. It's really rare what you get and what you want for your build. All right, the canteen is where you're going to need to eat every time. There's a big part of fighting monsters. This is for like the new players, to be honest. This tip: eat a meal, always pay with points, because points is so much easier to get than gold. But there is YouTube videos of how you can get gold really easily. I will highly suggest looking up a YouTube video of how to get gold really fast, and it has to do with mining these ores in like the lava cavern. So yeah, just go give those guys views so you can find out how to make quick money. So since you're going to be eating here a lot, so you're going to press order the usual, and I would highly suggest just copying these 2 right here. These 2 are in general. Here, just pause the video if you want to see the offensive one, and then pause the video if you want to see the defensive one. These are just going to help you kill like every monster in general. These are just in general ones for every single monster you're going to be fighting. You can order a bunny dongo and you can mix and match it of what you want. Like for example, you got fire res plus 10 if you're going to fight a fire monster, but I just use these 2 in general. Now let's talk about your weapon of choice. So the game basically provides you with 14 different weapons that you can use. I use a longsword, so I'm just going to give you examples of how a long sword works to compare it to like other example of other weapons, because they all have the same like ideal concept. For example, like they all use a wire bug. Like my long sword, you could hold LT, press Y, and you do a long wire bug move, which was not that, but you could do this too and hit with your weapon. That was one thing I wasn't doing. I wasn't taking advantage of the wire bugs when I used my weapons offensively, only because I was so scared. I would always use the wire bugs just to run away. But that only goes for melee weapons I could speak of. If you want to use like a light bow gun, or heavy bow gun, I mean bow in general, highly suggest looking up a different video, because I am clueless how to use that. All I know is that it requires ammo and all this bullshit. I feel like there's a more in-depth video that will speak about these. And trust me, no matter what weapon you use, you can use it for 90 hours, whatever. You are going to probably look up a video or something and be like, what have I been doing wrong? And even then, when you watch the video, you're still not going to use it right. So just know you can never master your weapon. Just keep using it and using it until you get to the point of you feel like you're almost to perfection. And obviously each different weapon type does good against certain monsters, and each element does good against every single monster. For example, if I go a longsword, you could either go an elemental route, or you could go a regular raw damage. That's what they call it. Now, me speaking about this stuff real quick, none of it really matters if you look up the best build or whatever the fuck you want to look up on a website, which is the Game 8 website I was speaking about earlier. Just go on Google, look up best build for greatsword, it will give you a ton of builds of which hunter rank you want to use that certain build. Just make sure you go to title update 3.0 and you will see the build you want to use. They have a ton of choices. They even have any game builds when you're done finish the game. The best of the best, whatever you need. So elemental builds up over time. So if I use this sword, for example, if I have fire, it will build up over time when I'm attacking that monster and give it fire damage. If we use raw, you don't get nothing, but the benefits of that is because you would trade off raw damage for like better sharpness, attack, or affinity over that fire weapon you would be using against that monster. And it works against every monster in the game basically, because it's a raw damage weapon, there's no element. So if you see on the bottom right, it says negative 20% affinity. All affinity means is how likely a weapon is to land a critical attack. So it has a negative 20% chance of landing a critical attack, while this one has a 10% chance of hitting a critical attack. It's always good to go for affinity because you always want to hit crits all the time, for melee weapons anyway. Now you have this thing called sharpness on your weapon, and you see mine goes all the way up to white, and those are damage multipliers. Basically, if you have white, you want to keep it in the white and blue, so just make sure you always keep sharpening your weapon after it goes to green, because the blue and white are damage multipliers, and I believe white is like 1.37 and then blue is 1.32 damage multiplier. I'm not sure, and green will just be 1.0, I think. All I know is that between green and blue is like a 0.20 decimal difference, so that's a lot of damage you're kind of missing out, especially with the crits that you stack with your affinity. Now lastly, you have these gem slots on the bottom right, which are called decorations, and you do all this with the Smithy again. Go to decorations, create decorations, and you have tier 3. You have decoration level 1, 2, and 3. The rarity really doesn't matter because you just want to do what you want to do with that. So you go to set decorations after you create a decoration, and I have, like, for example, I have a 2 gem on a 2 slot. You can also put 1 in a 2 slot, but you can't put 3 in a 2 slot, obviously. So the tenderizer drill gives me increased the infinity of attacks that exploit in monsters' weak spots. So on the right hand side, you see that it increases my affinity by 15%, and the more jewels that I put on that is tenderizer, it's going to give me even more of a bonus because this is level 2, level 3, which could increase to 50%. Now this game is all about understanding your monster. That's how you basically defeat the monster. So you'd want to press start, go press RB or whatever PlayStation has, and go to this tab right here, go to Hunter's Notes, and then go to large monsters, because this is where you're going to be spending your time to understand the monster. Because just pick a random ass monster like an Apex Rathalos. You can see his ecology of where you can find him, his physiology, which is the damage you can do to him. So he's more prone to more dragon damage. That's what that is on the far right, 20 dragon damage on the head. It seems that melee weapons and hammers do more damage to his head, which is a 55. But if you're using a gun with ammo, you would want to shoot his back, which is 45 damage. All this other stuff really doesn't matter because the physicology thing explains everything you need to know for the monster to defeat him more effectively. Okay, this is probably such a long video, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so once you start getting used to this entire village, you keep walking left and right, back and forth, highly suggest holding the back button and just teleporting there because you've seen everything. You're tired of being in the gathering hub, you go to Steelwork. You're tired of being in the Steelwork, you go to the Buddy Plaza. And that may seem like such a big thing, but when I first started playing, I just kept wire bugging everywhere. And that will just save you a lot of time. Just get used to doing this instead. Just try and train your mind to do that instead. It's not hard. I think I explained everything that I, as a player, wish I knew when I was playing this game, even though I watched videos to try and understand. By the way, the training area right here, take advantage of this, please. Like, you're gonna learn a lot being in here. Worth it, especially since you're fighting these monsters 24/7. Learn your weapon a little bit better. Yeah, hopefully I explained everything and I wasn't going everywhere with what I was speaking about. Anyone in the world. Hopefully I help someone.
Enemy is about to scan the area.